Hi, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and today we're going to do a little press talk. I'd like to go ahead and cover my hydraulic press. I've had several inquiries on it, and we're going to take, and I decided to do it tonight because the sun coming in the window during the daytime is just murder. I've adjusted a little bit of the lights so that you can actually see, and I'm going to take the camera on up, and you're going to get to see my power supply up here, up close. But I think I got general idea. We got the hydraulic tank, we got our cylinder, we got our pump and our filter assembly, and then all the power unit is all up on top of there, giving you the freedom underneath and working in the middle. Now, the question has come up, what tonnage is this press? And like I tell everybody, there's no fibbing about tonnage as far as the cylinder strength and tons on the ram itself. The construction or the mass of the press way supersedes the hydraulic capability of this press. The pump I have up here is a 3000 psi pump, and so that's a fixed number right there. And the diameter of the cylinder is 5 inch, and that's a fixed dimension right there. Now we go to the Bible here, and we come over here and we go 5 inch at 3000 psi, and we're pushing 29 ton. It looks like a big press for 29 ton. Well, you know, I really haven't had anything that this thing couldn't do. But let me give you a couple examples of let's just say somebody would say, hey, 100 ton press. Well, to get 100 tons, you would have to have a 8 inch cylinder at 4000 psi. You know, that's 3 more inches round diameter than that right there to get 100 ton. Okay, and there's variables that all fill in there. Let's just say 50 ton, and you can get that several different ways. But basically, a 6 inch cylinder at about 35-50 would get you about 50 ton, or you could come down here like a 7 inch cylinder at 2600 would be 50 ton. There's a lot of variables in there, but you know, there's no fibbing about the tonnage of a press. So you know, I was going to get I still want to put a pressure gauge on here, but I got a couple other things too. I want to put an AB selector switch or valve in here because I want to run an accessory off the end. I have a hydraulic bender that I built that goes with this, and I want to get into that. I will bring that out and show you a quickie on that. With that in tune, and you have a distance back view, the hand crank does bring the table up and down, and it's as simple as this, and pulling the pins out and shifting the hole where you want them. These are 1.5 inch pins. If I was to do this again, or actually I still can, and this is just slipped on a post right here, and this pinion here, I could actually put another pinion and bring another big gear over here and bring it here, and I can bring the reduction down even more if I wanted to. It's not a priority, so it hasn't happened. The valve system I have here, I have a Gresham swivel mount or attachment controller over on this side here, so that it'll give the gradual motion, and what it does is it has a helical ball detent, and it lets you feather it instead of having to push in and out like on your regular valve controls. So you got the smoothness of that action up and down. I have quick connects on here because, like I said, I have the pipe bender that goes on here, and I've been using the same valve. Before I did the paint job here 3 years ago, I used to have a little eyelet right here and a shaft coming over and another handle over here so that I could be right above my bender when I wanted to use it. And after I do the selector valve, I'm going to actually have the valve right on top of the bender itself. So it's kind of interchanging. There again, it's priorities. You know, everybody's got priorities on their different things. Yeah, expense. I had that comment. Expense on the press, and when I was leaving the place where I was renting, and when I first started my business, I was borrowing a hydraulic press, and almost every company that I've ever worked for has had a hydraulic press, and I've ran a lot, so I've designed my own press around the presses that I've used throughout my career. The closest that this comes to is made by Interpack. An Interpack 50-ton press. It's got a very similar frame style. Now, the gear rack and crank handle is all my own coming up with. I've I've run presses where they got a boat winch, okay, and cable, frayed cable all the time. I don't know how many times I've been poked with wire. And sometimes no crank at all. Sometimes you got to go get the forklift and you put the forks underneath there and you lift it up and down and you move your pins. The Interpack actually had a chain, hydraulic pump with a chain and a little catch on the table, so you could drop the chain through, you could catch it, and you could pump it and you can move it. And then also to release the valve and bring it back down. It was a hand pump operation, but that's what Interpack had on theirs. And I'm going to get into the back. How did I make this handle right here spin this axle that direction there and give me the opposite over on that side? Well, that secret's on the back side of this table here, and it's not a secret. I was glad to show you. Now, getting back to the expense of the press. Well, I got ran off on that one. Before I moved out of that spot and moved into this building, I knew I was going to need to press. And of course, I couldn't afford even the material all at once. So I took it in weekly strides, and as money came in, I was turning it right over as fast as I could right into tooling. I would buy like the 4 uprights here, and then I would do all the machine work on those. This idea was in my head. I don't even think I drew this up. I had it in my head, and I may have made a couple notes. I'm not saying that I didn't do cartoon sketches or whatever, but I would do that section there. The next week I would buy all the channel, and then I would put that together. And I slowly pieced this thing together, and it probably took me, a month's time just to acquire the materials. And of course, I had plenty of time then. I was just starting out, and I was starving, for customers to come in, and I didn't have everything that I got going on right now. So I definitely had more time. And I had plenty of time when I rebuilt this, but there's always a way to do it. Take your big project, make it into little projects, and then you build one little project onto another one there. I can remember rebuilding my Ford Thunderbird, 77 Thunderbird 400, and it sat for a year. And every week at payday, if I had 20 bucks or 30 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever I had, I would put into it. And I built that engine the way I wanted to, all the way lifters and the cams and the crank and, the intake manifold and the tool distributors and, all the speed shop shit all went into that thing a little bit at a time. But when I got done, it was exactly what I wanted. And that's kind of how I put this baby together. So the expense, there's the hydraulic cylinder was off of a thumb excavator, and I helped a customer remount a cylinder, a new cylinder, to an old excavator. And I got his old cylinder and I modified it, and that's what this exactly is. The hydraulic tank, I built that from scratch. I hand cut out the plate and bent a couple pieces and put it together. This electric motor was in a salvage yard. I brought it from California, so I was stuck with 3 horse C-face adapter motor. The pump itself was misordered by a customer over at Marston's Mills Grassfield Airport. He ordered the pump for the front of his tractor, which drives these big giant mower decks for the airfield, and he got the wrong pump. So I bought the pump off of him, at his cost without having to pay shipping and all that, and that's how I got that pump. So some things I just happened to land in, and that's what I got, and that's, you know, if I was to buy a pump, I would have went for the 4,000 psi, and I probably would have gone up to you know, at least close to a 40 ton, 35, 40 ton on this. I'd have to look in a book to find the exact tonnage there without fibbing. So let's get a look on it. Alright, it's a little dusty up here. I did a little wiping. There's the top of my hydraulic tank and typical breather cap. And then there's plumbing. That's where the filter returns in there. This is the top of the keeper on the cylinder or the ram. Oh, and it is shouldered so that the butt end of the cylinder is into a register. The 4 long studs are Aquamet 17 material, and those are grade 8 nuts. And the suction comes from there into the pump and then flows from there down to the valve. I made everything slope down. I welded it and sealed it, so if I have a leak up here, it's got a place to run and I can catch it before it's all over the floor. Now I had to make this adapter here that bolts the pump in there, and I'm running a Browning coupling, just like a Lovejoy, except for it was a little cheaper, and you know, back then $10 made a difference to me. Like everybody else, you know, you pick your times to be cheap, I guess. But I did in here, you know, I did get the thermometer in there, even though I don't look at it, you know, all the time there. But at least I do have a level that I can play with. At least keep an eye on it. And I did plumb in a drain, and I just zip tie the little fitting on there, and I can drain that out. I have a couple times when 3 years ago I completely took this apart and repainted it for something to do during the winter. I was really bored. You know, we started hitting that economy problem. Stay busy, keep your mind off of it. Okay, the aggression spiral mount, I just wanted, this is a little aluminum housing that comes as a kit. So you got the little spool. This is a spring-loaded ball that goes into the spiral. It's inside the housing here, and it's all spring-loaded, and just screws on with 2 bolts. And if you watch the rod, see how it slowly goes in, slowly goes out. Really lets you have some fine tuning to your pressure and your control, instead of the straight pull in and out. Okay, here's the control for both rods, so I can get them going in opposite directions with one control of the handle. And I went ahead and put 2 idlers here, so past this, so I can reverse the direction on this sprocket here. And that's how I was able to control the gear racks simultaneously on both sides.